All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to cut through all that digital noise that's probably driving you crazy at work. We're going to talk about how to transform your communication from a source of stress into, well, your biggest professional advantage. Let's get to it. Does this feel a little too real? That sinking feeling when you open your laptop. Endless notifications, confusing email chains, and that constant pressure to reply right now. We all know it. And it really makes you wonder, are we actually connecting with each other, or are we just adding to the static?
You know, even with Slack, Teams, and a million other apps, the good old email still runs the show in the professional world. It is the bedrock of how we get things done. And that means getting good at it isn't just a nice-to-have skill anymore. It's absolutely critical for your career.
So where do we even begin? Well, great communication starts before you type a single word. It's about making a smart, strategic choice about how you're going to send your message, not just defaulting to whatever's easiest. Let's break down the 3 big ideas that will help you make that choice every single time.
First up is this idea of richness. Think of it like the bandwidth of your conversation. A face-to-face chat, that's super rich. You've got tone of voice, body language, facial expressions, instant feedback, the whole shebang. Richer channels are what you want to use when you need to build trust, create a real connection, or get someone on board with an idea.
Next, we have control. This is all about your ability to shape and perfect your message. With high-control channels like email, you can take your time. You can plan your words, edit for clarity, and importantly, you create a permanent record. It's for when you need to be thoughtful and precise.
And finally, we've got constraints. This is the reality check, right? Can you really get 10 busy people in a room together across 3 different time zones? Do you have the time for a call? Constraints are just the practical, real-world limits that tell you what's actually possible in a given situation. So this all leads to a fundamental trade-off. Spoken, or synchronous, communication, think phone calls or meetings, is super high in richness, but very low in control. Once you say something, you can't really take it back. On the flip side, written, or asynchronous communication, is the exact opposite. Low richness, but super high control. Nailing this choice is the very first step to becoming a communication pro.
Okay, so with that framework in our back pocket, let's zoom in on the tool we all use the most, email. We're about to see how to take your emails from cluttered and confusing to something that's crystal clear and professional.
Okay, just look at the difference here. On the left, we've got a classic mistake. The subject line is totally vague, it's just a giant wall of text, and the signature is, well, it's not very professional. This email is really hard to read, and honestly, it's pretty easy to just ignore. Now shift your eyes to the email on the right. It's like night and day, isn't it? The subject line is clear and tells you exactly what's inside. The key points are numbered so you can scan it in seconds. It specifically calls out the attachment, and look at that, a full professional signature. This isn't just a better written email, it's a completely different level of communication.
That amazing transformation didn't just happen by magic. It was guided by these core principles. The good email is just plain easy to read. It shows respect for the other person's time by getting right to the point. And, as we're about to see, it carefully manages the emotional tone, which is maybe the trickiest part of communicating online.
But here's the thing. A perfectly structured email can still totally backfire if it lands with the wrong emotional thud. And for this part, we need to talk a little bit about psychology.
This concept is one of the most important things to understand about digital communication. It's called the negativity effect. Because we don't have that rich information from someone's tone of voice or their body language, it's incredibly easy for a message you meant to be totally neutral or even positive to come across as negative. You know that short, direct email you sent? You thought it was efficient. The person who got it, they might have thought you were angry or just brushing them off.
And if you think this is just some abstract theory, check out the data. This chart shows the real-world impact. Just look at the difference between low morale and high morale companies. In places with high morale, over half of all emails start with a simple greeting and a name. But in low morale workplaces, almost 60% have no greeting at all. Those little things aren't fluff. They're directly correlated with a better place to work.
So what happens when a tense email lands in your inbox? Well, on the left, you see the gut reaction, getting defensive, pointing fingers, and just escalating the whole thing. That only makes it worse. But on the right, that's a masterclass in putting out the fire. The response is calm, it acknowledges the other person's perspective, and it pivots toward finding a solution together.
So how do you actually do that? Here's the playbook. First, just take a breath. Try to reinterpret their message. Maybe they're just having a stressful day. Then, seriously, relax before you even think about replying. When you do write back, stick to the objective, task-related facts. Find some common ground by pointing out the goals you both share. And finally, this one is key. Suggest moving the conversation to a richer channel, like a quick phone call, to sort things out.
All right, let's pull the camera back now. Getting your emails right is a huge win, but really taming your digital life means you need a bigger strategy for handling that constant flood of information.
Here are a few game-changing habits you can start today. Check your email at specific times. Don't live in your inbox. Turn off those distracting pop-up alerts. If a conversation gets complicated, just pick up the phone. You do not have to reply to everything instantly. And please, let's all agree to stop hitting reply all on those endless email chains.
And a really quick but important word on instant messaging. Tools like Slack or Teams are fantastic for quick, simple questions. They're absolutely not the place to have complex debates or make big, important decisions. It's all about using the right tool for the job.
And if you're still wondering why all this stuff matters so much, just remember this. Especially earlier in your career, your ability to write a clear, professional email is going to be one of your most visible and most frequently judged skills.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't about memorizing a bunch of rules from a textbook. This is about building your professional reputation. Someone who communicates clearly, respectfully, and strategically, that's someone who stands out as a true professional.
So, as we wrap up here, I'm going to leave you with a question. After everything we've talked about, from choosing the right channel to handling a tense email, what is the one small habit you are going to change starting today to take back control of your communication?